Jagex has come out with their end of the year survey that goes over all the elements of old school RuneScape. We're talking quests, PVM, PvP, bosses, skilling, and for the first time ever, Jagex has officially put GAMBA, real world trading, and botting into the same category. They are finally acknowledging all of it. Honestly, I thought this day would never come, but we'll get into that very soon. Now, I'm not gonna go over every single question in the survey because I spent over 1 hour completing it, and I kid you not, it had like 500 questions. If I was gonna go through everything, this video would be 3 hours long, but I did pick out the spiciest and best ones to talk about today. And why don't we start with my personal favorite, microtransactions. The question goes as follows: advantages in old school RuneScape should be earned in-game, not via additional payments. Now, this already is the case. You can earn advantages via additional payments. They're called bonds. I can go to the homepage right now, spend about $100, which is gonna give me roughly 100 million GP, buy my full bandos, my favorite weapon, and of course Obsidian Cape. And whenever someone asks me how I got my money, the answer is always merching. So we established that there is official means to buy GP with your wallet. Now, what I think Jagex actually means here is something similar to RS3. If you don't know, you can essentially throw your wallet at the monitor and Jagex is gonna shit out a maxed account for you in RuneScape 3. A really good series, and I highly recommend you go watch it just for entertainment purposes. It's a friend's video where he spends over $10,000 to get a maxed account through microtransactions. And the best part is he never leaves the tutorial location. So when Jagex talks about microtransactions, that's what I think they mean by gaining advantages with your wallet. Now, does this mean Jagex wants to bring microtransactions to old school RuneScape? No, obviously not. I talked with the Jagex moderator myself, and they 100% confirmed that just because they put these questions out doesn't mean they want this in-game. This is just to gather data. And obviously, if suddenly like 9 out of 10 players today wanted microtransactions in the game, Jagex would probably have them ready by next month. And that's why it is important that all of you do participated in these surveys and show that we don't want that to happen. So when the new owners who are likely buying Jagex in 2024 are thinking about microtransactions, Gamemodes can just show the data and be like, bruv, 95% of the community don't want this shit. Get it out of here. And then we're good to go for another year. But I think it's safe to say, if you don't count in bonds, microtransactions are not entering old school RuneScape anytime soon. Next up, we have a question about HD graphics. The first one is this: I would enjoy old school RuneScape more if it had an option for more detailed graphics. And later on they follow up with just asking, would you like to see HD graphics in the official client? This all started more than 2 years ago when 117 was planning to release the first real HD graphics in old school RuneScape under RuneLite. 117 worked on this project for multiple years, showcasing progress every month and building up the hype for the release. And literally just 2 days before it was supposed to come out, Jagex slaps their PP on the table and shuts down the whole project. They had years to do that, but they decided to do it just few hours before release. And the reasoning for this was simple. They're designing their own HD project currently and want to showcase that to the players instead of it coming from a third-party client. And this made players very angry. To this day, the HD client drama still has 3 out of the 4 top posts on Reddit. And it got so bad that it made thousands of players cancel their subscriptions. Jagex realized their mistake, and just 24 hours later, they backpedaled and allowed the 117 HD project to continue. Also, interestingly enough, the project that Jagex wanted to shut down ended up winning the Golden Gnome at the end of the year for Best Artistic Creation. So all of that was more than 2 years ago, and to this day, the HD plugin is still one of the most downloaded plugins in RuneLite. But like I said, Jagex promised in 2021 to bring out their own HD graphics. And now, as we enter into 2024, we haven't heard a single thing about it. There has been no progress shown, and I think the final and definitive answer here is that we just don't need it. Everyone who wants HD graphics can already use the plugin. Furthermore, Jagex even approved another official HD client that you can use in Launcher. So now we have 2 options for players who want better graphics. Do we really need a third option as well? I don't think we do. That being said, the reason I personally put neutral in this survey is because you could make the argument for mobile HD graphics, which we currently don't have, and mobile gaming is getting more and more attention. Honestly, it could bring in new player base that enjoys the graphical updates. I guess we'll have to see. Okay, the next question is probably my personal favorite. Which of these activities has the most negative effect on your desire to play old school RuneScape? Oh boy, okay. I think this is the first time in the history of this game that Jagex officially says, yeah, we have a botting problem. Yeah, we have a real world trade problem, and guess what? We also have a GAMBA in the game. I've never seen these 6 answers in the same question before. Now the only problem with this question was that you can only answer one thing, which makes it look like you don't care about the rest. My answer was botting because I think that's the biggest concern as a creator and a player for me currently. I don't think there's been a single day in the last year where I log in and I don't see a bot farm somewhere in the game. And it's actually really worrying to me. But that also doesn't mean that other 5 options aren't important. The question is, which of these has the most negative effect? And the answer is all of them. We shouldn't pick one out of these options. I don't want to see GE bots spamming websites. I don't want people to get social engineered in raids and get scanned for all of their stuff. I don't want real world trading, and I don't want GAMBA in old school RuneScape. It is that simple. It sucks that a game that in my eyes is perfection gets overlooked by the $1 million illegal underground black market business operation currently running. And hopefully Jagex finds a way to fix that. The good thing is, for the first time, Jagex is acknowledging all of these things once in a single question, and honestly that's already progress for the community. Okay, let's move away from money and talk about game modes. Jagex came out with tons of questions about potential new game modes in old school RuneScape. Firstly, a month-long competitive event. We know that Jagex has struggled for the longest time to find an identity for leagues. On one hand, you have the top 1% of players who are hunting that dragon trophy, and it is without a doubt one of the most prestigious items in the game. I personally own Twisted League's dragon trophy, no flex. Okay, a little bit flex, and only about 1,000 players in the entire game have this. On the other hand, Leagues was always catered towards the casual players, who just wanted to try out new content with overpowered relics, so what ended up happening is that you have 2 complete opposite player bases in one game mode, which obviously caused certain balance issues. This question could be a fix to that. Just have a competitive game mode dedicated to the hardcore players and let future leagues be for the casual players who wanna have fun in a temporary game mode. Honestly, it's a win-win for both player bases. Then we also have something completely brand new, which is a ruthless game mode where you would have much harder bosses and changes to all skills and quests. Which I wanna say, yes, please. They even added another question later on asking for extreme Iron Man mode, which doesn't allow you to use shops, and certain bosses have their drop tables changed. Now, I hate to say it, but old school RuneScape has for the most part been figured out. And it will make me so happy to see this game get randomized so players can't make a 500 point spreadsheet on day 1 for every task. I think it could be a lot of fun. Now, as the extra hardcore Iron Man, I don't think it would work as a permanent game mode, because I imagine this could be something really fun for a certain period, like 1 month. But in the long run, it just becomes a tedious gameplay process. Like combining the hardcore Iron Man element with a month-long event is something I am strongly in favor. But as a permanent game mode in the main game, I think it's just gonna suffer the same fate as Group Iron Man. At one point, it just doesn't have enough activity. I personally am a big fan of temporary game modes. I got top 8 on the latest Deadman tournament. I have so many dragon trophies from leagues. I love the idea of everyone starting over at the same time. And finally, Jagex also is looking at the idea of hardcore normal accounts. You can still trade other players and buy supplies from the Grand Exchange, but you have 1 life, and after that it gets turned into normal accounts. This would still give you that challenge you're looking for in hardcore Iron Man, but it removes the 500-hour grind for skills and supplies before you get to the PvM part. Okay, let's talk about balls now. A controversial topic in the last few years. First question, cosmetic changes to existing items and areas don't require balls. Yes, please, for the love of God, yes. Stop polling stupid things and just add them into the game. I've been saying this for years. In fact, last year I even made a video about it where I talked about how some of the questions are so absurd. Like, look at this one. Should the stats tab be changed slightly that the box containing your total levels aligns with the rest of the skills? Who cares? Who cares? Just add it in. We don't need some bureaucracy line of progress to make these updates happen. And then we have questions like this. Should we reduce the quantity and weighing for Sourhawk Slayer tasks as explained in the blog from 35 to 50 minimum maximum quantity and 8 weighing to 15 to 25 minimum maximum quantity and 6 weighing? I mean, what the hell is going on here? You're killing me, Jagex. You're actually killing me. Just fucking add it in, man. That is so dumb. Should we add right-click options to the real estate agent to allow players to quickly redecorate their homes? Yeah, these are real questions that Jagex is polling. I think Jimmy actually put it very well in one of his video essays. I don't care if the wallpaper in my BOH is brown or pink. Just add it in. It changes nothing for the players and most don't even know about it. It's fine, trust me, it's not gonna break the game. Now the question that I really have my eyes on regarding polling is this one. Players should play more before they can vote. There have been occasions where polls are only related to endgame content like raids, but someone who is 300 total level with no combat experience can vote no on the content in raids. We already saw this before, we had PvP restrictions on polls. We should honestly do the same for PvM. Like for example, let's say they plan to change Tombs of a Mascot in the future. Only people who have 50 normal KC can vote on the poll. I think that's a good threshold to have. It shows that you completed the raid enough times to fully understand the basic mechanics. I'm not even talking about Red X, butterflies, skull skipping and other advanced mechanics, but you understand the raid, which means your vote is so much more meaningful to ensure the best outcome. Honestly, it doesn't even matter if it's a yes or no vote. All it matters is that you know what you're talking about. And finally, Jagex asks if the polling system needs change to help more updates pass. Which honestly, this one made me scratch my head a little. Because I kid you not, in 2023, like 99% of the poll questions passed. Furthermore, the questions that failed were mostly for PvP, which we all know is by default a very sensitive topic for the old school RuneScape community. So literally every single poll and every single question basically passed this year. So I don't know what they can do to make it even more passable. Okay, we talked about almost everything now and there is one more thing I want to discuss: private servers. The first thing when you think about private servers is probably something like this. Over the top weird graphics that just doesn't fit the world, a lot of illegal activities and clunky gameplay. And I don't think that's what Jagex have in mind when they say private servers, or I guess custom servers is a better way to call it. Jagex wrote down an entire paragraph on what they think these custom servers should look like, and the idea is to bring more player-driven content into the game, which allows for updates that currently are impossible to achieve. New bosses, new Battle Royale mode in PvP style, maybe even something in the style of GTA roleplay. You wanna make kill and or games with your friends? Sure, why not? Wanna make custom speedrunning challenges where you have to complete all 3 raids back to back without tanking? It's definitely possible. Wanna use the old school RuneScape emotes to make your own Dance Dance Revolution game? Yeah, you can do that. The possibilities are almost as far as your imagination can go. Now, let me make this very clear before we move on. I don't think we as a player base are ready for this. I think it's too early to talk about something as massive as custom servers, because once this happens, there is no going back. Old school RuneScape, as we know, is gonna be officially dead. For me personally, I think the idea is something that gives me goosebumps and makes me scream in happiness, because this truly is something I've been dreaming about since day one of starting YouTube. But I also understand that I'm selfish. At the end of the day, I am a content creator, and this in my eyes is quite literally perfection. Making endless new content as much as my brain can come up with. But I also realized that the average player started playing old school RuneScape because it's none of those things I mentioned. It's not a roleplay server, it's not a Battle Royale, it's not a MOBA. The reason why I say that old school RuneScape dies when custom servers come is because a massive part of this game is other players. We already have 150 plus worlds. Imagine if every content creator, every big clan, even your friends make their own custom servers. There's gonna be nothing left in the main game. I like being able to go to next masses and snipe awesome loot. I like being able to go to pest control and to get my full void. I like doing corrupted gauntlet and seeing someone else get maple short bows as loot because they can't do the boss. This is all part of the game, and when custom servers come, it will disappear. Majority of players will go to custom servers, and since there is technically infinite content for those servers, there's no reason to ever come back to the main game. Minecraft, Path of Exile, RimWorld, Roblox, all very good examples of that. Majority of players don't bother with the vanilla experience and just jump straight into the custom game modes. Like I said, I think the idea for this game is too early. It's just too advanced for the average player. And what I've seen from the responses so far, it seems most players just don't want this right now. But I guarantee you, when Jagex comes back with the same idea in like 5 years, maybe 7 years, the response is gonna be completely different. I remember around 2014 when we didn't get almost any updates because players wanted that old school feeling. It was made very clear that everything should stay as it is. But if that sentiment stayed until the day, we wouldn't have 3 raids, we wouldn't have over 20 new bosses, we wouldn't get our first new skill or new PvP and quest updates. None of these things would happen. So as time changes, so will the opinion of players. Also, the simple reality is that Old School RuneScape has never been stronger than it currently is. I mean, we are breaking record numbers almost every day. We really don't need drastic changes for the game right now. People either always come back to this game because they realize how good it is, or we get new players who are tired of instant gratification and wanna earn something. And honestly, for now, that's good enough. So I'm gonna put my selfish thoughts aside, cry myself to sleep tonight that me, a content creator, is not getting what I've dreamed about for years now, and hope that the future is gonna be bright. What do you think? Please let me know. I would love to know your thoughts on custom servers and just player-driven content in general. I do think it's the future, but I also realize the game is doing so well right now that we simply don't need this yet. I promise in 5 years I'll make a video on custom servers again and we'll see where we are then. But for now, I thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to subscribe and I'll see you all tomorrow with another video. I love you all very much. Bye.